AITA for saying this is exactly why she never told you about him to my brother about his son. My nephew is 3 years old and we only found about him a few months ago. Obviously, the last few months have been rough on all of us, but especially my brother, who I think was in shock and denial for the longest time. One of the big reasons his ex didn't tell my brother about their son was because she didn't want him to grow up spoiled and entitled like most of my family. My parents also really hated her and did a lot to try and get my brother to dump her, e.g. my dad had her fired from her grad job, and I think he was the reason she couldn't get another one in that field for the longest time, so she was scared of how they'd react if they knew. My nephew turned 3 right around the time we found out, so we weren't able to celebrate, and his ex would only accept one small gift from my brother for him, so my family are belatedly celebrating his birthday and they're going all out. My brother has bought more toys than one kid needs and is talking about taking him to Disney, even though there's no way in hell his ex would let him take my nephew abroad. Anyway, we were talking about the party yesterday and I told my brother we should tone it down and he shouldn't give his son that many gifts in one go because it'll upset his ex and most likely overwhelm my nephew, whose life has already been flipped upside down. I think for my nephew's sake it would be best if we work with his ex, because we're all going to be connected forever now, so there's no point fighting or holding on to grudges. My brother disagreed and said he wouldn't let his ex dictate his relationship with his son. I was going to explain why fighting with her wouldn't be good for my nephew, but our cousins were all siding with him and shitting on me for defending her. They think I'm only siding with her because she was one of my best friends and I'm trying to be friends with her again. I do want her as a friend, but that's besides the point. I was irritated because they were ganging up on me, and in the heat of the moment I said this is exactly why she never told you about him to my brother. He didn't say anything, but my cousins tore me to shreds. My brother has barely spoken to me since, and for some reason our family is now convinced I knew about my nephew all along when I absolutely didn't. My brother is also being so nasty to his ex now when he wasn't before, and I think it's because he's taking his anger at me out on her.